Welcome back, everyone, to the Quake Pro League. We are here moving in for the last match today for the EU CIS part of it. We've got plenty of action happening later with Rafa and Ahang even closing out the show. But for now, we have got Xron, who's about to play versus Raisy. I'm Zoot. Join my catch-up.
It's a big-time match. These are two players that have just been doing incredibly well in competitive, and you know, I guess that sentence has almost never not been valid because Xron and Raisy are two really high tier players. Raisy, one of the absolute best players in the world, and Xron, who has had some results now that are some of his biggest Quake results pretty much of all time. You know, fresh off QuakeCon where he did finally up to the standards he knows he sets himself on. I know Xron can sometimes be his own biggest critic, and sometimes he'll go to LAN and he'll kind of underperform by his own standards and be really like gutted about it, you know, because he knows what he's capable of. And now we're starting to see the LAN side of Xron that we're like, okay, this is, you know, he's always playing the way we know he can, and Raisy's been there for a while, but this is a big league match for sure. Yeah,
I've definitely been through some of his emotional adventures on the side of Xron, and I know that things are going a lot better for him now. He is someone who puts in a lot of hard work. The boot camping that he did before QuakeCon as well, he grounded so 8 hours a day. He's got scrims booked out the whole time. He's got that Google Doc running, and it's just
not
bang,
even
bang, bang.
Just the scrims, but like the sheer effort they had to. Because how far did Avec and Xron? Just to remind the people, do you remember how far away they lived from the internet cafe in Dallas?
They think they lived like 4 miles away?
They had to walk like 3 or 4 miles in Dallas heat just to go to their internet cafe so they could actually grind, because they were staying really far away.
Yeah, they're getting their fitness up as well.
But that was
sweat.
That was dedication. But no, the interesting thing today, we're starting things off with Xron, and you know, I mean, we have so much to say about both these guys. I know, you know, you're a really good friend with Xron. You know a lot about this guy.
He won't say the same. Sadly.
Tell the people at home why the handler is held in such high esteem.
Well, he has got some remarkable rail. He's the type of player. We've said a lot about how they make it look easy, but it's really calm aiming with the railgun, but it is hyper effective. He's also very good on a multitude of different champions. And I think he's just got this reserved, disciplined style, which is very difficult to crack. It's hard to force those mistakes out of him.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, being able to beat Ahang at QuakeCon as well, and like having the result that he had there.
I think he beat. Oh, I'm going to kick myself for forgetting the fact that
I know
he beat Kilson, and I know he beat Rafa, who were among the top 3. I think he may have even beat Cooler, but I don't want to quote myself on that.
Yeah, for sure. But that's why I think we said that his QuakeCon rampage was so crazy.
I just remember saying to Kilson and Rafa at the bar afterwards, imagine losing to Xron. And they were upset with me, but
that's a quote for you, my friend. But up next we have Raisy the Kid, you know, really Maestro's golden boy.
Godslayer.
And I mean, there's a reason people call him the Godslayer. Luca Games and Comics last year, where he had the run to end all runs versus truly the world's best players, and he came out on top. And that was just reminding everyone that Raisy is one of the greatest players in the world, that he's here to stay. And, you know, his progress will only ever be a continued climb. But, I mean, it'll be a great tournament today for Maestro. You know, Maestro, if Raisy takes this, that means that all 3 of Maestro's players would have won their games today. And that's a great result for them.
You know what? That would be good compared to the final day of QuakeCon where all of the Maestro players lost their games.
That was.
I mean, I shouldn't smile about that. Because I was especially rooting for Raisy, because I know how much he'd really been pushing to beat Rafa, and unfortunately got taken down twice on the trot. But he's going to have more chances over Luca. We do have picks and bans that we are able to look at between these guys. I think we were mentioning earlier that we are expecting a clutch to be played, and there it is up on the upper middle right. We're going to Ruins to begin with, where there will be a Ranger played by Xron. And then we've got a Molten and then a Veil to end the EU CIS segment on.
Important to mention that the experts' predictions have actually been quite one-sided one way or the other with both of these players. They predicted a 4 difference, a very substantial difference, basically the TLDR for Raisy to take Ruins with his clutch.
I agree.
They show a lot of respect to Xron's Nyx on Molten Falls, but then like finishing things up, they massively favour Raisy's Death Knight. I believe that was a 3 value.
I'm actually very on board with the experts on this occasion. I think Raisy's clutch. I think it would be insane if Xron beats the clutch. Even with a mobile champion and a high DPS burst champion like Ranger, it's just too hard. Raisy's too good with that champion. Nyx, though, it's magic watching one of Nyx. He's in love with the character and with the champion, and has a phenomenal way of being able to handle when to use the ability and to deal with everything.
Worth a small little detail that it looks to me like Raisy banned out the Scale Bearer from Xron as well, which is something on Molten Falls. That is something on Molten Falls.
We were just talking about that.
We were just talking about that during the break. It was mentioned how not a lot of people. We got that sentence out there in the end. Really pick Scale Bearer, with the exception of Xron on Molten Falls.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a very 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 big respect ban there. I think coming from Raisy.
I think he just popped off too soon with Scale Bearer on Molten. I know he was using it in practice a lot.
Maybe should have saved it.
And I think, he wasn't able to... I don't even know if he used it that much, even at Quake. People maybe were already scared of what he was doing with it in the scrims. And so... Well, you know what? It's not even a bad thing, because if you can force people to ban out the Scale Bearer against you, it's like, brilliant. I've still got X amount of champions that I'm good with. So it's a 200 IQ move, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, there's always these crazy next level plays, and Raisy and Xron, they're former teammates, they've played together before competitively, and it's one of those things where these are definitely bans and picks that are coming from players that have extensive history together. This is not just meta bans, these are specific player bans.
Yeah, well, we're going to go into predictions, and I'm going to predict the first catch up, so screw you. I'm going to... My mind says 2-1 to Raisy, but I'm going to go 3-0 to Raisy. This is going to be the first 3-0 of the Quake Pro League.
But Xron's had quite the climb recently.
He did. You are right.
I'm going to play it safe again. I'm going to say 2-1. But I do think Raisy. Again, I will back Raisy for sure. I think this is going to be a Maestro day. I think they're going to take a 3-0 throughout the course of theirs.
We've both been right with our predictions. If you've been right, then I'm going to be half right in this one. And otherwise, if I'm right, you're half right. So we're basically 100% guaranteed to be half right.
So this is a win unless Ron wins.
I think that it's not possible anymore. Now that we've said against it.
So we've cursed him.
Well, yeah. If we cursed him, it's usually the counter curse, so he probably will win. I think that's how it works. I think I fully understood. Anyway, enough with our blabbering, guys. We've got the game ready in just a couple of moments, so we can get things started. Oh, they're on right now. Raisy, he's going to be up on screen first. He has got the clutch out going versus the Ranger. He has got the lightning gun, the rail gun, and he's climbing his way towards the rocket. No, he's not, because he's actually just spotted where Xron is and looking for a swift little rail at the end. Even despite missing it, he has still dealt a ton of damage.
Getting caught second guessing where Xron's going to peek out that corner 2 times in a row, with Raisy just held that angle for a split second. And again, 3 times in a row now. If he just held the rail, he'd have got it. He tries to dire orb through, but he can't. Loads of damage is done. However, it doesn't matter, because there are 2 very large pickups just waiting to be taken. The Mega gets collected by Xron, and with a little bit of armor, it's not the worst position in the world to be in, but Raisy is going to get first blood here. And I mean, Ruins of Sarnath, this was pretty much the first map in Duel that Clutch actually made a name for himself in as a champion. Like, this was the map you used to pick him in, because you can't deny, you can't fight for heavy.
Oh god, mistake there with the rail out for a long time.
Nice
Xron is going to find the last shot. Opening up the fight with a rail by Raisy and missing the opening shot. That is not how you want to do things.
Now that's the payout playing Clutch, isn't it? That I think he is the largest champion in the game, body-wise. So it's kind of hard to miss some of those shots versus him. I know he's very, very fast, but if you hit that angle, he's the easiest champion in the game to actually shoot if he's stuck in place. The defense comes through, Xron can't survive. I actually very much respect the dire orb attempt. Even if he's got that damage reduction, you can try and just shred it down as much as you possibly can, but Raisy survives it a second time now. But Xron hasn't done a terrible job of trying to stay alive. Even now, if he's... Oh, the LG just looking too good.
Raisy is just, even though he's playing a huge champion, he's so good at getting the most damage output possible. So you could be doing X amount of damage. He seems to match it, even if you're a much smaller champion. And I want to play off the delayed way what you were saying before with Ruins and Clutch's viability. Funny enough, though, this used to be like an auto-ban map for Raisy, but now it's kind of changed recently because he has been getting some nice results. And that chase did not really work out for Raisy. Xron has got a chance to get back into this, and if I were him, I'd definitely look at challenging for this heavy. He's here, but he goes under the rail to begin with. Oh, the orb close range still works out. Xron is now just a frag away.
He's not far behind now, is he? And he's got a bunch of weapons. Looking to try and get this rocket if he can. Misses the rail, which is a bit unfortunate. He just needs to land one more for Raisy to be deleted. Swaps to the LG, and he does manage to hit its mark. 3-3 now. This has been a very, very explosive map, number one. And one of the things about Raisy's clutch that I want to always point out is just his movement. How many times when you watch a clutch in first person, they kind of clump on the terrain, they get caught on stairs, and they bump into this, and they bump into that. Raisy so rarely gets caught on any of them.
You've cursed him now.
If I did, I didn't mean it.
There's a lot of cursing going on. Mega just spawns at that moment. Raisy chasing it. Oh, wow, he actually picks it up. I think there was ammunition that Horn had just run out of. Otherwise, he would have got that. That was a hyper-aggressive move from Raisy, and there was a fine line between success and failure then.
I feel like a lot of these frags are actually going the same way, that it's very hard to call. And there's a reason that this is, you know, I guess it's in some ways like a title card for EU today. Like, this is the big match, you know, two really big names going head-to-head, and very evenly matched, as you can see. You can always tell why it's hard to make predictions when these guys go. That was a very crucial rail to miss, and Xron punishes it dearly. And the trade, you get one, I get one. It's going to continue now. 3.5 minutes on the clock down, and it's 4 frags each.
Yeah, and Horn has got a really nice amount of health and armor. He can fight with this. There's no shield up for a while. I think there was a rail on the sidelines just then. Raisy's just trying to get his ability back up, and his stack back up, and his weapons back up. So there's a, I mean, I would say a long road, but because he's so damn fast, it shouldn't be long until he's ready to fight again.
What a shot there from Xron, actually. Lying in wait. And Raisy getting kind of pushed away a little bit. You know, you're so normally used to seeing clutch on maps like these kind of, you know, be the one that dictates the pace. But Xron is just going toe-to-toe every single time. He's rarely missing these shots. He's able to kind of match the damage pound for pound. And he's laying the chase on. He's not letting Raisy retreat and simply stack back up.
Oh!
Trade!
Wow, he actually manages to get the mutual kill. He's going to go and try and visit the heavy and see if he can get it. He's going to get a lot of weapons, and this is bad news for Horn. He's got the rail, but this is just going to be a commitment to the fight for Raisy. So after the neutral frag, he picks up the follow-up. Horn had to leave that heavy up completely after the spawn when he realized that it was never mind. The nail guns come out. Sorry, the nails come out from the super nail gun, and Raisy just goes directly into him. That's like the equivalent of dropping down onto LG, but with clutch, you're a huge target.
He's going to be victim to some of those weapons that you otherwise wouldn't really fear as much. I know the super nail gun does a lot of damage, but you know, at the end of the day, they're projectiles and they're slower moving than a lot of other shots. But if you're clutch, again, you're a large lad, it's much easier to hit him in these situations. And he just gets absolutely melted. And it's what I said earlier, Xron is just going pound for pound. Every single hit is counting now.
That was a really sick LG just then. I really think he could have followed into that, to be honest. There is an orb to look out for, but he's being quite disciplined, holding with items. He'll get this heavy. He hasn't got too long until he has to start thinking about the mega health, but 365 collective health and armor does find him on the sideline. If he goes through the teleporter, he might even be able to lock this. There's going to be the LG. Oh, the jump drops him down, and he's going to give away the mega health now.
On top of losing his shield too, which is a real big deal there for clutch. He's going to miss, and missing the rail too, allowing Xron to just extend his lead. The orb, he's not going to teleport to it. He knows that's a death sentence, especially with the stack that Raisy's looking at. Xron gets one, fantastic rail. He needs to sit pretty now and waste some time until the heavy spawns. And now Raisy looking to retreat. Doesn't want to overextend just yet. And I am really impressed with how Xron's been able to really keep a lid on this clutch. It's so hard to do.
This is dangerous still. Is he going to go in for this? Oh, there's going to be Raisy just getting onto that mega health when he was vulnerable. He has found him, and he might try to sneak in a rail shot. Looking at the LG, has got the shield up and ready and waiting. Lightning gun is going to be enough. Thought he was going to switch away for the rockets for a second, but shield up. He just wants to spam it out and make sure that he hasn't got to wait for those rockets to reload or anything like that. Finds him off the spawn, down at the railgun, but those nails, he's already had to learn a lesson from that this game. He wants to retain that lead for as long as possible.
And now with Raisy, even before he took in that heavy, he actually opted to push out a little bit just to get A, some information on where Xron was going to be, and B, try and push him away. And the heavy was not really contested, but 2 excellent rails, putting Xron straight back into the driver's seat. He just needs one more shot. Raisy still railable temporarily. He's looking for it. And yeah, I respect the shield use, to be honest. Even if it doesn't save his skin, and he backs up and it gets caught on the terrain. Maybe I did curse him, Zoo.
Yeah, he wanted to get that fluid backwards movement. It's not an easy maneuver to make, but you could tell he was trying to get through to the connector to get some safety from that. Using the shield, I think, instinctive, but I wonder if he could have done better by not using it off the spawn, finding weapons, and then being able to attack a little sooner. Because now he's got to hold on a bit, and it could be the difference between him picking up some of the following items or not.
Springs the trap, but minimal reward, only 13 damage, unfortunately for Raisy.
Mistral is music to Raisy's ears as the shield now is back up. There's where he is.
He looks to divide the health just a little bit more before collecting the heavy armor too. And this has been a really wild ride of a map. So, I mean, it's just been a constant game of chicken. You know, I go for you, you go for me. The trades have been insane.
He's got to chase this now. He's got to go with the shield. He has the lightning gun. Xron is out in no man's land at the moment. This is a really nice kill for Raisy. He's 100-100, no shield, but we've got major items coming up soon. There is the orb, though. However, Xron's missed some opening shots, and that is going to be the follow-up frag for the Hungarian. And now with heavy up, there's 10 seconds until the next. The orb is down, so this should be easy pickings for Raisy. Easy enough, 12 health remaining. And now he can just swiftly make his, I say swiftly, he can make his way up. Oh, he's got to watch out for that. He is so vulnerable at the moment, climbing up the eye. He gets across in time. You can shoot through the little grates now.
That's what I was worried about. That's why I think there was so much haste in Raisy's movement. But, you know, just like that, the turnaround was insane. He got a couple of good spawns, chased it down, and even that second rocket that we just saw, the slight delay, you know, Xron's in big trouble. Absolutely a bad situation to be in a tiny space of time where Xron was trading it constantly. Now Raisy is in control. Xron tries to fight for the Mega, but he was way too early on it as well, to be honest. I'm not really sure if he could at all survive that situation.
I think it's just slightly desperation as well at the same time. You've got to go versus clutch. You've just got to get yourself back on the board there. It was the conversion frags that Raisy was getting after the initial stalemate battle. It's just added so much value, and it's made this last minute of play that much easier for him.
30 seconds to get 4 frags against a fully stacked clutch. I'm ready to call this one, to be completely honest. If Raisy wants to be passive, he can. But if he wants to lay on the pressure and keep Xron behind, of which he has, thank you very much, Netmaster, it's a bad situation for Xron now. It's just, he has to chase down this clutch, and now it is fully 100% impossible to win. That's going to be a map 1 for Raisy, and I got to say, I'm impressed that Xron even took it that much, that gauntlet. Why not? Why not? Xron has to try and push as much as he can. But after a map like that, I'm actually just impressed that Xron managed to make it so competitive for as long as he did. That was a map that, to remind you,
it was very close,
expert prediction predicted that to be, you know, free. They were correct by the end of it, but only in the last minute when Xron was running out of time, and a lot of those kills by the end were like, just, he had to try and do something, and if he dies, so be it.
Yeah. So 51 LG from Xron, but still 44 from Raisy when, you know, you got that size difference in champion. That's still really, really good from Raisy. But I think we kind of expected a win like this. The experts predicted the win like this, in this kind of fashion at least. It's going to be about how can Xron catch up in the series. This is just testament to just how good Raisy is on the clutch.
Well, it was Ruins of Sarnath to start things off. It's Molten Falls next. And, you know, we already know there's going to be a Nyx and a Galena on that map. And this was the one projected that maybe Xron is able to win this one. And, I mean, ultimately, that was projected to be very one-sided. And it only became one-sided at the very end, when Xron had nothing to lose. You know, he had to try and make something happen, and then the divide was crazy. But it was only up until the last couple of minutes where, you know, it was that snowball effect where Raisy got 1 frag and then stacked it again and then stacked it again, got 3 back-to-back. The first time we'd ever really seen any consecutive kills go back-to-back on this map, and it just so happened to be Clutch, showing us exactly why Clutch in the hands of a good player is very scary on a map like this.
We saw Xron rarely using his ability unless he could use it at the same time that Raisy was using his shield, which I think is a very smart move to make. It means you've got that burst damage, you've got that extra mobility when they're in their most powerful form, but it's proved that in even this situation it wasn't necessarily enough. A couple of things go differently, maybe, but I think that Raisy was just picking up the momentum and getting more and more powerful as the map went on.
And I think that's just, you know, we've seen that from Raisy so many times before, where he can be quite a momentum monster. Now, Molten Falls, we already saw the respect ban, actually, from Xron's Scalebearer. And it's, you know, it's not a champion you would normally associate with anything competitive, but, you know, now the changes have happened and the format requires a lot more champions to be picked compared to what we used to have. You know, Scalebearer is a champion that really has got a place on a couple of maps. And Molten Fall is one of the big ones, and it is, you know, none other than Xron that was able to kind of put his stamp on that. So, you know, no wonder that we saw it personally banned out, but we are going to see his Nyx in action. Molten Falls has been quite a snowbally map today.
Yeah, well, it definitely has been.
Yeah.
But I think if Raisy was the one to watch on Clutch, then now Xron is the one to watch on Nyx, in my opinion. I think he's very exciting on this champion, and he's just incredibly dynamic as well. He can be very strong defensively, aggressively, passively, all of it. I think we've actually got the game starting in just a second, so we can jump right into that. He is going to be going up versus the Galena of Raisy. Very good defensively. You can use combat totems, or you can choose to stack up your totems however you wish in order to get the triple bonus from it. But we are going to start with Xron, which I think is the right thing to do. Hopefully I won't curse them, but I'm expecting some good things.
We've done our fair share of accidental cursing today, I think. But hopefully now is not one of those moments. The immediate pressure is laid on by Raisy. On top of a really good rail. He knows he can go in for the kill here. And the Ghost Walk forced away. But it's that foresight, you know, Raisy's not going to overpush there. He knows that the Ghost Walk would have been up, so pushing it, there's no point. You know, you're going to give up positioning. An invisible Nyx has probably gotten away anyway. Just let it be.
2 totems down already. Xron is going to manage to get both the heavy and the mega health. That's quite a win. Just hiding inside this. I like this, actually. I haven't seen people using that before. Oh, well, at least he managed to get rid of the 1 totem, and honestly, it's worth taking the 40 damage just to sort of prevent any kind of momentum, because there was about to be the last one up.
Yeah, it looked a lot to me like Xron was just waiting until he knew that Raisy was safely too far away to capitalize on the off chance there was a totem by the teleporter. You know, the moment he realized that Raisy was far enough away, he then used it, and then when it detonated, he wasn't really very hasty trying to get away. However, has a bad positioning now. Fortunately, he's been able to allow the Ghost Walk to stay active for just a little bit. And he needs to stack back up, but while he does this, Raisy's going to be stacking up nicely. There's a chunky delay in between the Mega and Heavy, though. I think Mega being the next objective here for Raisy.
There's 2 totems, I think, on the Teleporter X here. Might be wrong on that? Oh, the rockets from Raisy, really strong. Makes the jump up. Xron not expecting that at all. Raisy gets first blood here on Molten. And Xron gets caught off with the lightning gun, trying to drop for the heavy. That's going to go straight over to Raisy.
I've always thought that one of Raisy's strongest assets as a player is just knowing when and where you're going to respawn. Like, his studying of respawn locations is pretty insane, to be honest. And Raisy will just maintain this snowball effect. And it's because he's catching you on spawn almost all the time. And
the fact that Xron didn't have the Ghost Walk available for all 3 of those periods. He used it defensively once, but managed to get caught out slowly after when he rocket jumped up. And then he's just been going down, down, down. He doesn't want to use the Ghost Walk then, because the same situation could just end up happening right after. You'd rather have some stack and some weapons to work with. Being a bit more aggressive this time, it lands a good rocket, unable to commit, but hopefully he's at least stemmed the bleeding for himself.
And now Xron remaining on the back foot. It's been a common problem for him in this map so far. You know, we said about Xron's Nyx is something to watch here. Looking for the direct, misses its mark, and unfortunately, he's running right, looking for a telefrag. Oh, I respect the attempt. Honestly, I respect the attempt. Because if he tried to double back there, he would have wasted so much time. He might have been stuck in no man's land, to be honest. If he, you know, just in the off chance that Raisy turned around. But not just yet.
So he doesn't have the Ghost Walk off the spawn, but the thing is, Raisy wasn't that stacked either after that fight, so Raisy can't just immediately go for spawn frags. Some time has to be taken. However, Raisy's not going to be too upset because he's 5 frags advantaged at the moment. And the world is his oyster.
Nice little rail. Raisy's still looking on a bigger stack with his heavy.
LG.
But you still have to worry that Raisy has the armor now and the totems to fall back on. Ghost Walk is available if Xron needs it, but right now he's looking just to try and spring another trap. Here it comes, LG fight. Xron needs this so bad, and that defensive rocket just completely sticking a cork in it again. I wonder if Raisy's going to have the timing on the Mega. I imagine he'll have a rough idea.
I think so. I think he'll have a good guesstimate on it at the moment, but we'll see in a rotation or 2 how much that stuck. Heavy is up soon. Xron's just caught position of Raisy, so he knows he can get that for free. Now we could see this transform into to Xron's map. He's landed a good rocket. He wants to finish it up. Raisy trying to be a bit tricksy. I think he might have launched a totem up to the top. Almost managed to take down Xron somehow, but he manages to get himself on the board. Mega's up in a second. He is going to commit to this, but Raisy's already piling on the pressure. He's committing to this fight completely. 36 health left for the Ukrainian. I don't know if he can survive this. Apparently not.
And before you can get anything that resembles a comeback, it has been stolen away. The denial of momentum. It's such a classic case in time of a duel where, you know, you feel like you're going to make something happen, and then, you know, the big thing is just recovering. How do you recover from one frag, especially when you're already in the lead?
It's just great aggression from Raisy. He knows he can be aggressive off the spawn. There was already limited resources picked out of the skies just then.
Clay pigeon shooting.
And although I've been hyping up Kron's Nyx, I mean, Raisy's Galena has been, you know, nothing to shake your head at.
The totems have been keeping him afloat. I spoke too soon because he just died popping one, but ultimately his use of the totems has been hard to you know, really let Xron finish the job, because he's getting Raisy weak, he's just not able to finish it, he's not able to clutch it out. And that's been a common problem for him on Molten Falls so far. On top of the fact that Raisy, you know, he just has this raw both foresight of, you know, where Xron's going to be on the map. You know, his awareness of how to chase it and spring traps has been great, but also I think it's just his aiming. You know, these classic fundamentals, totem or not, has been a problem for Xron as well. But and now we're just looking for more information, like just a perfect time.
Timing, man, that was painful. Right after you go for a rocket jump as well. Oh man, that stings.
Just doing him a favor at that point. Raisy can be defensive now if he wants to be. Time's on his side.
I agree, but he's just passed him in Ghost Walk. That's going to be behind. 78 health left. Raisy's got to respect a little bit at the moment. He needs to get himself above that 90 health or armor threshold, which is the case, but Xron's got a good stack. So as much as he can be defensive, I think he's got to be flexible at the same time, because otherwise comebacks are absolutely still possible.
Especially on Molten. I feel like we see a lot of people get caught on spawn. More on this map than quite a few.
Yeah, we saw that already from how Raisy was able to extend his lead.
Or Sparky versus
amazingly. Yeah. Well, don't know if I want to talk about
that. slightly different example, but you know.
Oh, that's not worked out for Raisy.
Xron should be able to chase this one. Surely he can chase. Good idea.
Okay.
Wonderful choice. I love that positioning. So I was worried for a second.
I was worried because he went over to the heavy first, and it's very easy to just get into a cycle of items and not finish the job that you start. If you get an enemy low, you have to make sure you finish the job. But you know, he made sure not to allow Raisy to escape and heal up or anything like that, as he was very quickly back on his tail. This is still scary though for Raisy. He's 100-100. Don't think Xron realizes he's just by that teleporter. So he's going to take a little bit of damage. He's going to take quite a lot of damage. Oh my god, a couple of rockets and a rail to follow up at the end. All of a sudden, Raisy has got the health and armor advantage.
And Xron's really prioritizing the rocket. On top of trying to get that entry damage, I think he's a little bit concerned that if he misses a rail when he had that stack, he'll just get punished with a free frag. There's the choice, and it has got rid of the totem, unfortunately. But pretty even stacks. Both lights, but nice room to retreat. I like the pathing there from Xron, knowing that you can recover the heavy. Should be a pretty free take, as we have the luxury of being able to see that Raisy's too far away.
Raisy, he's just suddenly getting the damage output just as Xron's getting some confidence. The game's changing a bit, but the LGs look pretty good at the moment. He wants to chase down. He's got the machine gun. It's a good weapon. He hits the rail just after the 2 25s were picked up. I mean, it's the right weapon if you can land the shot.
Just like that, he's back in the fight. We have less than 2 minutes on the clock. Oh, caught with his gauntlet. That might be something he'll regret. He better have some surgical timing on this heavy. He's a second too late. If only he was a little bit earlier. Or at least the heavy was earlier. Maybe things would have been different there, but that might be the beginning of the end. 1.5 minutes left to go. Raisy is nicely stacked, and that's a fight that I think Xron might live to regret.
Yeah, that was a big moment actually at the end. I think you're right, that might have just secured the map. Xron's stack is still not that bad, so he can find it, but it looks like Raisy is using the similar position that he was. And he's going to break through that teleporter. There's going to be totem damage for him to take. Now he's got to take all the risks anyway. It almost feels like lose-lose, but there's a rocket jump up for Raisy, and he hits the fadeaway. That's going to make it 9-4. And Raisy's looking good to go 2-0 at the moment. I don't think we've had 2-0 after the second map. Well, actually, you can't have it after the third map. So.
Well, I know your predictions were certainly. You think that Raisy might be our first 3-0 of the day,
and
we're on par for it. And the next map being something that we favour Raisy on even more so, does make me worry for poor old Xron. I really thought he'd be able to get this map at least.
You know, though, It's strange to call Raisy like the biggest threat in it, but even though Kilson won QuakeCon, but it's just because Raisy's the one that beat all Europeans. He didn't lose a single game to any of his peers in the EU-CIS region. So even if Xron does lose this 3-0 or even 2-1, it's like he gets a huge threat out of the way very early on. Even though the possibilities are that you can actually match up against him later on, at least you've got time now to maybe set yourself against some opponents who have also not had the best fortunes.
Well, that's a map done again, and even though Xron really felt like maybe he was in the driver's seat, it slipped away from him. Raisy's taking this one, making it a 2-0. So he is now going to technically win this series of games, but the show must go on. We have one final map. It's going to be the Vale of Nath, and that's where we can get bonus point territory.
Look at the control differences again. 12 heavies, 12 megas for Xron, 7 heavies, 7 megas and heavies for Raisy. Over 1,000 extra damage, hitting 66% rail. You can see that even though you've got the control disadvantage, if you are the one laying down all the damage, the control just starts to not matter at all.
Especially when you look at how some of those frags went, which was just Raisy being really comfortable, honestly.
Yeah.
So many of those frags just weren't close. You know, how many frags did we see previously on Ruins where you know, Raisy or Xron would survive with barely any stack remaining, but Raisy was nice and healthy for the majority, spent a lot of this game in the lead. Xron right there, I mean, I respect the attempt, right? He had to try and do something, especially if they got, you know, Uzig and Izag. Well, let's try and go for a big play, but I mean, even in these replays, 4 minutes in and Raisy was 5-0. Xron spent the entire map completely behind.
Yeah, I think he'll be slightly gutted at that, and it's definitely going to make the last map quite hard, having that in your mind already that you've been 2-0'd. But what we've discussed earlier, DK maybe being one of the weaker champions in the meta. However, it is on Vale, which if there's a good map for Death Knight, it's Vale. But there's Keel, and Keel is also still very, very good.
And that Keel pick is going to go to Xron, so maybe, you know, we can maybe potentially favour him to win this one and get some points on the board. I mean, if he wins now,
you're favouring him. I've made my prediction.
You have made your prediction.
Commit.
You have made your prediction.
Okay,
well, the way I'm looking at it and what I'm seeing right now is, even though it's tricky to mentally recover from, hey, look, I just got 2-0'd by this guy, and you know, I don't want to. It's a bit of I think a defeat of morale to lose a 2-0 before the series is technically finished. However, if Xron is able to win this map, he's been able to do the same thing pretty much everyone else has been able to do. There's been 2-1s throughout the course of the day, and even though it was a pretty dominant 2-0, this map still gives Xron the opportunity to be like everyone else that just fell short a little bit this week. So it's not like he's going to be at the very bottom. So we'll see.
It's still a hard one to call, though, just because of the nature of Vale. Its fluidity and just how hectic it can be. Depending on a first couple of minutes start, who knows how that'll play out for the rest of it. So because you are able to just chain those frags together very, very effectively if you can catch your opponents off the spawn. At the same time, it can happen at any point in the map. So I'm still down with my prediction. Even though Keel is good in Vale, I'm believing in Raisy at the moment.
I mean, Raisy's always been doing extremely well. And again, Raisy, a couple of shortcomings at QuakeCon that prevented him from being at the absolute highest tier placement. And that's one thing we can never forget, is that by all accounts, Raisy will probably tell you that he probably should have been a tier a little bit higher.
That's what he would have wanted, yeah.
That's what he would have wanted. That wouldn't have surprised anyone.
He lost to Nosfer, although Nos was very good. It was a result that I don't think he had accounted for. But yeah, guys, we are in Vale now. We are watching Xron on Keel. He's got the Death Knight to be concerned about and to strategize against. We'll see what he's able to cobble together, as he has got the rockets and lightning gun very early on. Oh god, this is...
Oh no, the point of no return, isn't it?
He got off.
Thank god he recovered. It's really horrible getting caught on that platform, but...
He's weak after it though. He's going to get himself the mega health, but you've got no armor to work with. I like the spam that Raisy's making from below, finding just bits and bobs of damage, but now pushing in. Got to watch out for those combos with the grenades. But still, Raisy spills first blood, and actually has some health and armor left to work with and pick up.
Keel's weakness, like the other heavies, is that he's one of the larger champions, and on a small map like this, it's unlikely that you're going to miss during your big burst periods. Raisy catches him with the LG, hook, line, and sinker. He's going to reward himself with the heavy just to make himself a little bit more of a thorn in the side. Xron trying so hard to gather.
Good damage.
Set himself on fire, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, just undoing the flames with the health pickup. Nothing to worry about.
He's just spotted him. timing there. Could have had some damage out. Knows that Raisy's pushed across the super nail guns. But can he get up close and personal? Not bad damage on the exit, but Raisy is so low. Yeah, he's going to fall down by the tele exit.
Really nice little pickup there, Xron. The second kill catches you in your grenade territory. Combine it with everything else, and it's very scary. Misses the rail. Going to give Raisy a little bit of an opening. The battle for the Mega is going to continue. One rail looking for a second, but he needs so much more. One more shot to make it a 2-2. He's going to establish some control at the very least. There is a delay in between the Heavy and Mega now. And now here comes Ron. Has to be careful though, because ultimately, even with a stack like this, you're getting caught by LG on this map. It's miserable.
Oh, Raisy actually committed to the Heavy early. I thought we would have taken the light armors previously. Managed to hit with the flames a bit and some LG, but he's still enormously disadvantaged on stack. Light armor for him, but the amount of LG from Xron and the direct rocket from up above. That hurts. Oh my god.
Oh, completely unnecessary as well, that 100 rocket was, and before he can even blink, another frag has been brought on the board. You mentioned how you can chain frags together pretty easily on this map, especially if you're maintaining this constant momentum around. Xron, pretty weak though. And ooh. I was about to say completely railable. And then it happened. 3-3 now for both players.
Yeah, and Raisy's now found himself in a very good position for the Mega Health. So although we saw Xron running around with enormous amounts of health and armor, he still has some, but it's definitely not as much to be feared when Raisy is rocking the overstack that he has. He just needs to connect with something a little bit, because it's mostly been Xron just dodging the damage and dealing out some damage himself.
Gets some damage on the rocket, but Xron has to be careful, putting a lot of faith in his own ability to land damage, and he does hit his mark. He needed that desperately, and with 4 HP, that was all or nothing.
Yeah, 25s urgently needed at the moment to see if he can just hold on to this lead for as long as possible.
Now, I always do think about time limit duels, though, that there are some advantages that come. Actually, I'll talk about it in a little bit as there's a fight breaking out again. Xron having to put more focus on its single-shot weapons. Unfortunately, this time, unlike the last frag, missed a couple of times, and that was going to be just a death sentence delivered. Caught in the wrong part of town, though, as Xron cleans up, collects another frag. And what I was going to say was, these champions that have these ongoing abilities, right, that you can pop, like the Athena grapple, the Keel grenades, I feel like they do have quite a useful amount. It's almost like this extra piece of utility that you've always constantly got, rather than the big one-time payout abilities. Having this extra utility on demand is a pretty big deal in this kind of game.
And it's a bit easier to hit on a map like this. It's smaller, slightly tighter in certain instances, in certain corridors, and you can kind of maximize your damage nicely. But we're 5-5. It has been a really back and forth game at the moment. It's hard to tell which the direction it's going to go, but as it stands, Raisy has got overarching control. We've had a lot of teleporter pushes, and Raisy is going to think whether he wants to do it again. He is going to go for it. Follow-up rocket from Xron's going to miss, and the splishy, splashy damage from Raisy has actually been pretty decently effective, but he misses the rail, and Xron is going to be able to sail away. But there's going to be a meetup again. Rocket hits. Now he's vulnerable. Xron's got to get out of here.
Missing that defensive rail was a big deal. No rockets either. Bad news. Forced away. The moment on this map you're forced to try and get a little bit of small pickups, the danger you face, isn't it, is that there's nothing key near you. When you're nowhere near Mega, you're nowhere near Heavy. You have to give up the control just to heal up by smaller and more annoying means. Ouch.
This rail that should secure the Heavy. Xron can't stand near this area anymore. And Raisy's not even actually gone for the item. He's pushing in for the frag.
Smart. Really smart.
Yeah, Xron thought that, okay, he's going to focus on the Heavy first, and then I get at least time to think about how I defend myself. But Raisy was just straight in there. No, not batting an eyelid.
A lot of LG coming out from Xron, though.
Yeah, that was tough.
Most of it hit its mark, punishing Raisy for being arguably a little bit too aggressive. Forced to run away now, and now it's actually going to be Raisy going into those smaller parts of the map. Going to have to give up just a little bit of central control. But there is some time before Heavy spawns, so don't count Raisy out just yet. Maybe even we'll just give it up to make sure he can put himself in a position to maybe get some damage on deck.
I think he was imagining, okay, can I fight for Heavy? No, he'd have to land like 2 clean rails, so he had to go for the light armor down in the lightning gun room before he could even have any kind of a presence. But he hits a free rail, and that means that he's not far away from being able to get into an equal exchange.
to me, like a funky position. Like, you know, almost it was like strange how Xron couldn't see him, but Raisy saw him for so long.
Oh, wow, what a read there from Xron. He's going to push through tunnel. He is going to go. The rocket's not terrible at all from Raisy, but Xron is tying it up once again. Stacks are fairly even. He does find the rail shot. Xron, he drops down, not expected by Raisy. Doesn't quite hit the rail shot. Xron, he'd be killed, I think, by the next one, but he is just more consistent, more reliable with the damage output that he's got.
Ball definitely calls Xron falling down that pillar a happy accident, as he 100% just got damage on the way down that Raisy wasn't able to deal with, because he actually missed, giving Xron the perfect opportunity to actually take the lead here. And it's kind of almost like crazy how we're saying, taking the lead. This has been a ridiculously explosive map so far. 3 minutes on the clock. Is it going to be a 3-0, or is Xron going to normalize things and just make it a 2-1 so he doesn't have to worry as hard about next week?
Xron doesn't know that Raisy wants that Mega Health to have any kind of momentum in this, and he's just dealt immense amounts of damage. This makes it so hard for Raisy to now get over there that he needs to deal damage. All of a sudden it's turned into a essentially free item, and there's the frag as well. Clean rail, great stack, 8 to 6. Can find him off the spawn with heavy soon to come up.
Xron is really starting to smell blood, I think. He knows that he needs this map, and he doesn't want to be bottom of the leaderboard for a week. That'll be one real kill of a morale.
Yeah, even don't send me those screen caps, anybody.
Yeah, even if it is against Raisy, there's nothing to be ashamed of losing to one of the absolute greatest players in the world, but still, if he can do something about his results, he'll try and change it.
So Raisy's got about a minute, I'd say, to have a firm grasp of the map before he's got to start making those aggressive pushes. And for Xron, he doesn't want to go passive right now. He wants to hold on to the control and hold on to that stack advantage. That's why he's going aggressively for now. He keeps hitting these rails. Heavy is taken, looking for the flicks. Health has been nabbed, though, by Raisy. There could be a chance. If he's got the mega health timing, he could actually get in through the teleporter, but there's some good defensive rockets, too. And considering Raisy didn't do that, he's allowing Xron to get that freebie on the mega.
It's 1.5 minutes now. Looking really good for Xron so far, even if they hit those rails. As long as Xron's managing to hit his mark and keeping Raisy behind. Hang on a minute, though. Oh!
He somehow nudged himself, I think, with the rockets then. This is slightly unfortunate. Now the comeback gets a little harder. Xron looking for those 2 points. Just needs to hold on for 1:10.
Raisy looking to try and force his way back in. Strong arm the comeback if he can. There's not a lot of room left, and doing everything he can to make it happen, but now it's starting to run away from him. This would have been a really unfortunate result for Xron if he was 3-0 down, but it looks like it might not happen. Raisy unable to get the 3-0, but honestly, well played from Xron, staying composed all the way through on this map. Winning this map on Raisy, it's no easy task at all.
Raisy was the first person that Rafa realized he had to ban this map against, even though it was beforehand his best map. And the fact that Xron is now handling the heat so well here only bodes well for him.
There's only a little bit left on the clock, and that's going to be a guaranteed. I mean, we surpassed the point of no return a fair while ago, but it's 100% now. Xron is going to make it 2-1. Raisy technically winning this series. Maestro Gaming have their three-peat in 1 week. All 3 of their players able to get their victories. But it is going to be a 2-1 and not a 3-0.
Yeah, that's the ticket. Well played there to Xron. Gets himself a couple of points as commiseration for losing the other 2 maps in a row. I think Raisy will still be happy, but it's kind of when you're feeling you're about to get those 8 points and it just gets snatched away. It's a bit of a shame. But
it would have been wonderful for Raisy purely because he would have been the only player in this part of the world that had the 8 points.
Yeah,
like you can clearly tell that players that win 2-1 get 4. If you 3-0, that's double. That's a significant amount.
You are on a roll with your predictions.
At last, I feel like this is the first time it's ever happened. But how about that?
You've been like 100% perfect on all 4 games. I don't know if we got the exact maps right, but we got the scores right. That's for sure. Maybe you did as well, even though you're even more on a roll. I
do feel like it was just a safe bet to assume 2-1s, just because of naturally, the general way seeding
Don't give them the secrets of how you do it. It's the magic has been shown. You don't want to show them how to repeat that magic.
Well, at the end of the day,
you're right.
It might be harder to predict as weeks go on, but because today, it's fair to assume that everyone going against each other is evenly matched. That's how the Quake con seeding worked. When players are evenly matched, you're not going to get these big blowouts. You're going to get these close matches that go 2-1. Well, that was a map. It was still a 2-1, though.
It was still a 2-1.
It was still a 2-1. It was just the final map.
If there's a 30 frag difference, can we nominate a rule to just remove any maps one? No, I'm joking. Sparty earned his map.
Biggest blowout of the day. But you know what? That was then, and this is now.
Yes.
Raisy gets the final win from EU and CIS. Remember, it's not going to end here. We're only halfway done.
Halfway through.
Today.
We've got work to do on this hot Sunday.
This is a marathon, a Sunday marathon, but it's going to be NA next. I think this is a nice little taste of what to expect from EU and CIS. This level of gameplay is as ridiculous as expected, and the 2-1s were a safe bet.
Yeah, I think so too. And I imagine when we move into the Americas, we're probably going to be going through a sort of similar process. Think so?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's the fact that week number 1 is taking how everyone played in round robin at QuakeCon, and it's taking the closest match.
Even with Rafa and Dahang?
It could be, because they play each other a lot quite regularly. When they practice together, which, when you practice against someone, you often have stood quite a better chance. The more experienced you are with a player, and you're Rafa and Dahang that do play on player tendencies more than a lot of players, and Dahang has beaten Rafa in the past and vice versa.
True.
So, I think even that could be close.
Yeah.